Bases drop for Thursday Thoughts here on SDH AM. John here, you there. And it is not quite Atlanta soccer tonight, but let me change profile here. Hang on just a second. So there we go. It is SDH AM. John here, you there. Thanks for hanging out with us as you always do. Man, the hair is all over the place this morning. Obviously, here's what we got. Here's what we have. It is keeping an eye on AFCON. There's only one match going on right now. It is Burundi and Kenya. They're in the third minute. We have no score. We'll let you know what else is going on when it comes to qualifying today. Most of the matches are at noon, but we'll break down what you watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, all those things. We'll get you ready for all the stuff coming up here in the show as we go. Guests. Michelle Kaufman is opposition research. She's going to drop by at the bottom of the hour from the Miami Herald and the Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About Inter Miami podcast, and we're afraid to ask. She'll answer it for us coming up at 9:30. We got it for 15 minutes. Then at 10 o'clock, it's the Power Hour. Start with our buddy Nino Torres from GOLTV. We'll tour the planet, a little South America, a little Europe, probably some Portugal, what's going on in those sections of the planet. And then at 10:30, last half hour-ish of the show, it's our buddy Niko Moreno from Pulso Sports and Sounder at Heart. Break down everything going on in Major League Soccer with the window. And Obed Vargas apparently is a desired commodity. A lot of teams have their spectacles out. They got the binocs out, and they're keeping an eye on Obed Vargas. We'll get into that. We'll get into the matches of the weekend, let you know what's going on there. We've got news. US U20 is going to be playing later today. We hear from Marko Mitrovic here in the show, and we'll let you know what's going on there as they get ready for their matchup against Italy. It's about 2-something. And so we'll play that after Michelle Kaufman comes in at 9:30. So between 9:45 and 10 o'clock, you'll hear from Marko Mitrovic getting ready for the U.S. U20s and the knockouts as they get ready for Italy. We'll get into juice boxes there as well. All over the place. Morning, Alex. So that's the show. We got all the news and things that we can get into. We have a bunch of different stories. You've got Sofia Huerta. She was announced as one of the new part of the ownership group at AC Boise in the USL. Netflix looks like they might be trying to offer about 4 double extra large for the rights to the Champions League. You've got a bunch of paper talk. Manchester City, we got to figure out what's going on with them. They might be toward the end of the discussions when it comes to the court case. What's next for them? WSL salaries were released. There's trouble in Malaysia when it comes to player eligibility. 6 or 7 players are now being questioned about are they really eligible to play for the country in the qualifiers. And then you have a bunch of things at Manchester United. It appears in the interview that Sir Jim Ratcliffe did. He said that you need to judge Ruben Amorim on a 3-year plan. Folks aren't too happy about that idea. And there's also gossip, we'll phrase it that way, that the Glazers might be trying to bail and just get out, period. So we've got all of that stuff as well. Spurs look like they have invested another $100 million in themselves. And so it was ENIC, a cash injection after takeover talk was dismissed. So majority shareholders, ENIC, have announced a new £100 million cash injection. And once again, we mentioned yesterday where you had the DJ, the ex-DJ, sorry. You had an ex-DJ come public and sit there and say, no, we're not going to drop 4.5 double extra large on buying Spurs. And so now Spurs lead owners, ENIC, have now invested another £100 million there. So Daniel Levy goes. You have a consortium that was backed apparently, and now ENIC has repeatedly, once again, they say club's not for sale. And now they've reinforced this with the Joe Louis Family Trust, and they're going to be investing 9 figures, and apparently there's more where that came from. Source tells TalkSport it's initial additional funding. Say that 10 times fast. As club's management decides what's needed to deliver success, more money will be available. The Louis family is committed to backing the club to be successful, and then the club came out with their own statement. Additional capital is part of the ongoing commitment to the club and its future. Non-executive chair Peter Charrington added in the press release, I know the Lewis family are also ambitious for the future. Today's capital commitment reflects that ambition, and I would like to thank them for their ongoing support. And so it's 100 million pounds. And so they own, meaning ENIC, they've been the majority shareholders since buying out Alan Sugar in the 2000s. They own 86.5% of the club, 13.4% shared between a number of minority owners. ENIC itself is majority owned by the Lewis Family Trust, and they've held control of the group since 2022. The Lewis family also owned private equity firm Tavistock. Remember our conversations about the economics of soccer and private equity funds. So the Lewis family owns Tavistock. The Lewis family is also the owners of Spurs. So they go both ways here. So you've got that to look at. And then Daniel Levy remains a part of the ENIC group with just under a 30% stake, despite stepping down as chair. According to financial documents, Lewis no longer has significant control over Spurs. Levy will also have no direct involvement in matters outside of his role in ENIC. The Lewis children, Vivienne and Charles, have taken a more active role in running the club recently. And so following Levy's departure, former Arsenal chief Vinay Venkatesham is now steering the ship as chief exec. Peter Sherrington, once again, given a new role as club's non-executive chair. 25 years under ENIC, Spurs have collected that many trophies. 2. Leagues Cup in 08, Europa in 25, moved into White Hart Lane, and they still don't have a sponsor. They still do not have a sponsor. Also at Talk Sports, Saudi billionaire Turkey Al Sheikh has claimed Manchester United are in the advanced stages of a deal with a new investor. Al Sheikh, who is chair of the General Entertainment Authority of Saudi Arabia, posted a message on the 280-character app last night suggesting the club are ready to sell. Al Sheikh dropped this note. He goes, quote, "The best news I heard today is that Manchester United is now in an advanced stage of completing a deal to sell to a new investor. I hope he's better than the previous owners." Al Sheikh has been looking to apparently invest himself. Former Crystal Palace owner Simon Jordan revealed he held an interest in buying Bristol City. Other clubs believed to have been of interest: Southampton, Millwall, Sheffield Wednesday. Al Sheikh's claim on social media has been viewed more than 2 million times. TalkSport understands the post has taken United sources by surprise. Saudi and Qatari groups have denied any talks have taken place. Glazers still value United in excess of $5 billion. Glazers sold 27.7% to Ineos's Sir Jim Ratcliffe for $1.25 billion. Rejected a takeover bid from a Qatari consortium led by Sheikh Jassim Al Thani. And so we now have Sir Jim Ratcliffe and all of that going forward today. So Barca apparently also is set to rejoin the EFC 4 years on from the European Super League launch. Nasser Al-Khelaifi on Joan Laporta. Sometimes friends disagree. That's normal, but they always come back together for the greater good. But our buddy Ben Jacobs at GMS at Gimme Sport, once again, Barca set to rejoin the European Club Association. And Khelaifi once again hinting on that. And more paragraphs from there. Laporta's been one of the biggest advocates for Super League. Barca, Real Madrid, two of the founding members. Both clubs have ties to A22. Promoters of the breakaway league. Al-Khelaifi has been one of the ESL's fiercest critics. Continues to maintain the project is dead. The ECA relaunches to European football clubs. So that is the new name, by the way, of the ECA. Changing their official name to European Football Clubs. Al-Khelaifi is trying to implement a new identity and culture, fast approaching 1,000 clubs. Al-Khelaifi wants them to start working collaboratively to shape the future of European football. Quote, 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 quote. And everybody's now focused on the EFC Center of Innovation. I feel like I should say that with some kind of an authoritative voice. I should say it that way. U.S. Soccer and Football de Primera have renewed their longstanding partnership through 2030. U.S. Soccer ensures Spanish-speaking fans get to hear every U.S. men's national team and women's national team match through 2030 on FDP Radio's trusted network and digital platforms. So that is available as well. Still no score, 12th minute, Burundi and Kenya once again. We'll go over everything going on in AFCON, get you ready for all your qualifiers, what you need to know today, all the things. Tell you what, we'll go ahead and do the viewing habits right now. Well, let's lay it all out for you so you can go where to watch, what to watch, and how to watch it. So U20, round of 16, 2:45, Morocco, South Korea. You've got the friendly with England and Wales at 2:45. Universo, 3:30 this afternoon. USA and Italy's at 3:30. Once again, that's on Universo. World Cup 26 qualifying. Nicaragua and Haiti is at 8. Honduras, Costa Rica is at 10. That's on Universo. ESPN has the Plus has all of your 26 qualifying for the AFCON. The other 5 matches outside of the one that we have going on the Big 55 right now, they're at noon. We'll lay all of that out after Niko departs in the 11 o'clock hour. We'll lay out your AFCON and lay out everything that can happen, what happened, all that stuff, and juice boxes. World Cup qualifying in Europe on Fox Soccer Plus. Finland, Lithuania is at noon. Scotland and Greece is 2:45. Paramount Plus is simulcasting the World Cup 26 qualifying, Nicaragua, Haiti, Honduras, and Costa Rica. And then you have college action as well. So if you're locked into things, it's going to be the Plus, it's going to be Paramount Plus tonight, and it's going to be either it's going to be Universo for the U.S. and Italy. That one is at 3:30. And also keep an eye out for FS2 as well when it comes to what to watch, where to watch it, and how to watch it. So that's your rundown of what we know when it comes to everything today. And like I said, that's the quick stuff. That's your quick news and everything to lay it all out for you when it comes to what to watch. No, hang on just a second. So, it's now an updated schedule. Okay, so is it updated? Is it really updated? Universo, right? Plus, yes. Fubo. Okay, so Fubo has added the European qualifying. Everything at 2:45 if you have Fubo Sports. Austria and our friends from San Marino. It is Cyprus, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Faroe Islands, Montenegro, Belarus, Denmark, Malta, the Netherlands, Czech Republic, and Croatia. All that's at 2:45. So Fubo has been added with the European qualifiers from the information that we had previously. So that's the layout for this morning. According, remember Emilio yesterday was when we have watch-alongs, he had suggested that we have a goal horn instead of, when Kevin Egan is on MLS 360 and they have to go from one game to another, we got to go, one of those. I don't know if I really can catch up that quickly and do something like that because I don't have all the games in front of me. So what we have done is we have actually invested in the goal horn of Emilio's choosing. So if there's ever a goal that happens going forward on a watch-along, it'll be like this. Okay, that's your small sample. But anyway, that's the goal horn from our friends in Montreal. So we figured we would add that as a part of everything that is out in the world. So we have that this morning. So let's tour the papers and go through all of the news. And I guess this is one gigantic opening kickoff before Michelle Kaufman joins us at the bottom of the hour to give us everything we always wanted to know about Inter Miami and we're afraid to ask. So here is the quick stories that I was alluding to when it comes to all of the quick headlines. Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Will Unwin at The Guardian, insisting he's not going to take a knee-jerk decision to sack Ruben Amorim, indicated he'll afford the coach 3 years to demonstrate his capabilities. 37 points, 34 league games, 15th last year, knocked out of the Gummy Bear Cup by Grimsby Town back in August. Net spend of £170 million. Ratcliffe regarded as a key supporter of Amorim, but the head coach has admitted if the results do not improve, he will face the sack. The Business Podcast had Sir Jim Ratcliffe on. Quote, this is an undersell. He has not had the best of seasons. Ruben needs to demonstrate he's a great coach over 3 years. That's where I would be. The press, sometimes I don't understand. They want overnight success. They think it's a light switch. You flick a switch and it's all going to be roses tomorrow. You can't run a club like Manchester United on knee-jerk reactions to some journalist who goes off on one every week. Glazers once again subject to protests. Left Ratcliffe and Ineos to run the day-to-day operations. We're local and they're the other side of the pond. That's a long way away to try and manage a football club as big and as complex as Manchester United. We're here with feet on the ground. They get a bad rap, but they're really nice people and they're really passionate about the club. That scream you just heard was Arthur Dickinson. Wide-ranging cost-cutting measures have been implemented by Sir Jim Ratcliffe, resulting in about 450 jobs being lost at United. Sir Alex Ferguson's $2 million a year ambassadorial role was ended. Free lunches for staff removed, leading to criticism. Ratcliffe, quote, the costs were just too high. There are some fantastic people at Manchester United, but there was also a level of mediocrity, and it had become bloated. I got a lot of flack for the free lunches, but no one's ever given me a free lunch. Biggest correlation, like it or not, between results and any external factor is profitability. The more cash you've got, the better squad you can build. So a lot of what we've done in the first year is spend an awful lot of time putting the club on sustainable, healthy footing. You remember we went over their financials last month. Record revenues, £666.5 million in the financial year, but a loss of $33 million. Quote, we're not seeing all the benefits of the restructuring that we've done in this set of results, meaning the financial results. And we were not in the Champions League. Those numbers will get better. Manchester United will become the most profitable football club in the world, in my view, and from that will stem, I hope, a long-term sustainable high level of football. So that's the latest from Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Patience from Ruben Amorim. That is what he is saying. Finger in the air, patience. And as we had alluded to in the championship, yes, Watford sacked their manager again. And they did bring back Javi Gracia again. 10 matches, Pezzolano's gone, Javi Gracia is back. And who knew? Literally, who knew? We mentioned the Netflix thing. Disney or Netflix may snap up the Champions League matches. Media rights for 27 and 33 could see a 10% increase. Champions League clubs take about 75% of rights earnings, which stand at £2.9 billion across the current cycle. Rights for Europe's 5 major markets, England, France, Italy, Germany, Spain, go to tender at once, leaving the opportunity for one broadcaster to, but them for all 5 countries rather than being their sole piecemeal. First major challenge for UC3, the joint venture created between UEFA and European football clubs. Wednesday, Alexander Sefrin addressed delegates in Rome without referring explicitly to the rights tenders, acknowledging they need to innovate in broadcast deals. TNT and Amazon hold the rights in the UK to screen live Champions League fixtures, BBC entitled to show highlights. Yeah, that won't get split up in about 19 different pieces. But yeah, so it looks like you could see Amazon chase after it. You could see Disney chase after it for the overseas rights numbers, and you're looking at something in the neighborhood of £4 billion. So that's the new look of what you're thinking about there. So that's keep an eye on that. And let's see. So the Independent. Let me see if I can run through all of my news here in the next 8 minutes. So in the Independent, we had the Manchester City story. The falling dominoes, and this is the headline from Miguel Delaney. Falling dominoes that could finally deliver a verdict on Manchester City's 100-plus charges. Decision finally expected soon. Senior figures are bracing themselves, according to Delaney. A growing murmurs the decision is expected, quote, this month. Everyday employees at the club understood to have become inured to the prospect since it's been hanging over them for so long, far longer than expected. Says much that people in the game have started to refer to the collapse of the Chinese espionage trial and wonder whether there will be government involvement given geopolitical dimensions through the club's Abu Dhabi ownership. And yet for all of the 115 or 129 or 30, now a belief that actual impact could be significantly lessened in terms of regulatory effect due to the parallel associated party transaction case finally ending in a settlement between City and the Premier League. Independent understands that settlement may even represent an end in itself, especially in how it's seen as safeguarding a crucial part of financial rules. That's why the impact of the City case may be lessened with regard to regulation, or as it has been put within the Premier League. 115 looks to the past, APT is about the future. Ultimately, about the fear of other clubs that new rules were required to address the growing challenges of state ownership, particularly the distinctive nature of associated parties. Yes, I did just use air quotes. In autocracies where the lines are blurred between public and private, meaning a relatively local company could be instructed to do a deal of international dimensions with a state-owned club. The company wouldn't have any need for such promotion, and most normal ownerships don't have such capabilities. So keep an eye. The new APT rules implemented to foster a degree of control over it, properly linking revenue to expenditure, preventing extreme inflation, and preserving competitive balance. The latest version is now understood to be locked in place, comes after all of the negotiations, and that you did get some peaks, but now you have, if the early case, if the first case against Manchester City was settled and solved in one manner, is the case that is still in play really going to be anything earth-shattering above and beyond it? That's probably the next, that's the biggest thing. Preserving competitive balance is what the Premier League is looking for. And so you've got that to stare at. But if you have that 115 case, a separate process, everyone working on it, locked away. The wider case nevertheless had other effects, according to Delaney. So will anything really come out of this second case with Manchester City? Folks really ain't holding their breath. Folks really are not holding their breath on it. And there was another piece of very sad news last night that came out. Our friends at TAE broke it. Boca Juniors coach Miguel Angel Russo passed away at the age of 69 after a long cancer battle. And so to see him on the touchline for Boca, it was very inspiring to see that he wanted so much to continue to be a part of Boca Juniors from the touchline as he fought cancer, but he lost that battle last night at the age of 69. So that was one of the other pieces of news that kind of drifted through last night. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I have missed, not that I'm aware of currently. So let me get into juice boxes really quickly and let you know where we stand when it comes to all of the activity that is there on the board. Today, once again, 3:30, USA and Italy. And the numbers have gone from USA being a decided favorite in the minus side of things. They're now to a plus 117. We went off the air yesterday. They were even money plus 100. Money has continued to shift. Juice boxes have continued to shift to USA being now a plus-sided favorite at a plus 117. Italy's a plus 221. Your 90-minute draw is a plus 224. Morocco at 7 o'clock, favored at a minus 147. South Korea is a plus 401. Last night, the second match went forever. And you had a penalty call late. Both matches went extra time. Norway beat Paraguay 1-0. France on a later than late PK. And I mean like the 118th minute. It was like later than late. Nothing happened after 90. Nothing happened after 105. Penalty call in the box. Goes to VAR. France scores with only a couple of minutes to go. Goes to like 123 or 4. And France advances 1-0 in extra time. So France advances. Norway advances. Argentina, no problems. Silvetti scores for Argentina while he's away from Inter Miami. That's a bit of a tease and a toss to Michelle Kaufman when she comes up here in a couple of minutes. Argentina, no problems with Nigeria to minus 213. Colombia, 3-1 winners over South Africa at a minus 154. So that was the World Cup U20 activity yesterday. And like I said, after Michelle Kaufman, getting ready for hour number 2, we'll hear from Marko Mitrovic and get you ready for that matchup against Italy coming up at 3:30 this afternoon. Now, the World Cup activity, and like I said, we'll get into the particulars and what to pay attention to. Wins, losses, draws, who needs to do what. Like I said, Burundi and Kenya, 26th minute. Burundi has a red card on the board, so they are playing the balance of the match with 10. Kenya has a man advantage now, 26th minute and beyond. You have the blending of Africa and Europe today. The Africa activity is all at noon with the exception of Finland and Lithuania. That's a noon kick in the European theater. And then you have the 3, 6, 7 matches that are going on in Europe at 2:45. Then later today, 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock is when you have the third stage of qualification in CONCACAF, Nicaragua, Haiti, Honduras, and Costa Rica. Haiti is favored on the road at a plus 127. Nicaragua is a plus 187. Honduras is a dog at home to Los Ticos, who are a plus 138. Honduras is a plus 197. Just to get you favorites, we'll get through the favorites quickly. But like I said, we'll get into the actual machinations of what it's going to look like, who's got to do what. We'll do that later on. Uganda favored on the road at noon at Botswana. Finland favored at home. They're a big minus 169 hosting Lithuania. Liberia is a slight underdog at home to Namibia at a plus 167. Basically the same thing. Equatorial Guinea, a plus 165 at Malawi. Mozambique, a plus 146 at home to Guinea. Somalia, big underdog hosting Algeria. Algeria is a minus 5,000. Somalia is a plus 4,450. 245s in Europe. Austria, sadly, is a minus 10,000 to our friends in San Marino. San Marino is a plus 6,950 to win. Draws a plus 3,415. Belarus, big underdog at home at a plus 2,100. Denmark, a minus 714. Bosnia-Herzegovina -106, going to Cyprus. Czech Republic is an underdog hosting Croatia at a +127. Czech Republic a +221. Faroe Islands a +233. Montenegro on the road at Faroe Islands a +129. That stadium, by the way, is gorgeous. Check the overhead photos. Malta is a big underdog hosting the Netherlands at a +41.17. Netherlands are a -2,000. Scotland at home, slight underdog, +184 hosting Greece. Greece is a +169. And that is your juice boxes as we have them. Like I said, we'll get into all of the particulars and everything as we go. Morning, Abby. Morning, David. Abby is watering and stomping new sod. Morning, David, and morning, Dr. D. So, as always, it's great to see each and every one of you this morning and have you lay out what is on your mind as we go here in the morning. Whew. And so now it looks like it might be just getting completely and totally chippy and nasty, and players are dropping and everything. So, like I said, Burundi. Ooh, okay, that's a stud up. Okay, so we had a stud up into an arm after contact with the ball in and of itself. So Burundi, a man down, 29th minute, player down, and they are trying to even things up with the Kenyan side to try to make it 10v10. But yeah, it is completely and totally just it has gotten crazy in the first 25 minutes on the Big 55 this morning. So that is that's the fun part that's attached to all of this AFCON stuff. And like I said, we'll be watching. Oh no, blasphemous pilot, blah blah blah. Yeah, you blasphemous pilot XB9 that are commonly referred to as a bot. You just got blocked. And now you're getting reported. You are getting reported. So that's a bot in the board. And that's a bot in the board. And since you are a viewer solicitation bot, BOT. So 23 characters. Yep, 23 characters. Submitting report. Report has been submitted. And the blasphemous pilot has been reported to our overlords at Twitch. So that's your rundown. Remove the space. Remove the space. So the link that has been given by blasphemous pilot XB9, which sounds like a villain in like Speed Racer or something. So the blasphemous pilot has been eliminated. I'm trying to check and see if there's any other news that has broken in the morning. The Athletic has some pieces on Ruben Amorim and Manchester United that we could be getting into here in just a sec. Okay, we have a premiere. We have a premiere here on the show. And like I said, the one thing I need is a trumpet fanfare or like Serpentina or something, and I don't have it yet. And I'm working on it. Like I said, we get the goal horn when we have watch-alongs. I added that. It's a small thing. And it's not a Florida Panthers goal horn. It's a Montreal Canadiens goal horn because we go back to the forum for all that kind of stuff. Now, we've got it for like 15 or 13 minutes. And I don't want to, because she's like really busy. Michelle Kaufman, Miami Herald, not wasting any more time. Bringing her in. We're going to say hi. We're going to talk anything and everything opposition research as Inter Miami gets ready to host Atlanta United. Michelle, good morning. Thanks for dropping by.
Good morning. How are you?
Look, we got you. You were like choice 1, 2, 3, A, B, and C to discuss anything and everything going on with Inter Miami. So I'm glad that we were able to corral the comet, otherwise known as Michelle Kaufman these days.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yes.
Covering this team is not, I've been doing this for 38 years, and this is the very strangest beat that I've ever covered. I'll put it that way.
How strange is it?
It's so strange that Lionel Messi is the captain of this team. He's the captain of the team. He's the most famous player in the world, captain of the team, and he has not spoken to the local media in over 2 years. Since August 17th of 2023, we had our opening press conference with him. That was 26 months ago, and he hasn't spoken to us ever since. And that just doesn't happen in not only in American sports, but even in MLS. But I mean, the idea that LeBron James or Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes or whoever would just never speak to the reporters who cover the team day to day. It's very unusual, but that's where we're at. He's covering Messi is completely different. The beat completely changed the minute he got here. On the good side is everybody's very interested, and I have a podcast myself that only came about because of Messi. The minute Messi came, the editor said, "Michelle, you need to do a podcast now." So I do a weekly podcast, and we have listeners/viewers from 220 countries. So there are people that are writing me from places like Gabon, Sri Lanka, New Zealand. I mean, I'm looking at the map all the time just to see where are some of the countries of the people that are writing. The interest in him is massive. It's global. He has 506 million Instagram followers. 506 million. LeBron James has 148 million. So, and like Patrick Mahomes has 6 million.
Mm-hmm.
This man has 506 million.
Mm-hmm.
What was that?
506. 506.
506 million. 506. Half a billion people. Half a billion people are interested in Lionel Messi to the point that they follow him on Instagram. So the beat changed completely. We have security measures in place to go to training that we never had before. I used to just waltz in there. It was usually, me and maybe 2 or 3 other people. We would just walk in. We would chit chat with Phil Neville, talk about his family. He would ask us about our kids. He would let me stay sometimes and watch the training if there wasn't anyone else there. No, it's completely different. We have to RSVP in advance. We have to apply to attend training, RSVP. Then there's a security guard. We go through metal detector. We get a wristband to go to training. So yeah, it's a crazy beat. This is a long answer, but this is a crazy beat.
Understood. The Jordi Alba retirement, how much of a shock was that to the dynamic of covering Inter Miami and to the club futures itself?
Yeah, I mean that was a big shock, to be honest, because he just signed a contract extension in May. And, there were quotes from him saying, "Oh, I'm so happy here. I want to stay a couple more years. I'm still in good form. I'm enjoying. I want to lift a lot of more trophies and whatever." And then Sergio Busquets retired a couple weeks ago. And that one was a little more expected. He had not re-signed yet. He had not signed a contract extension. And, there had been some talk that he was going to want to retire and take some time off and then become a coach. Everyone says he's going to be a great coach. He's basically a coach on the field already. He loves teaching the younger guys and he takes them under his wing. He's a mentor. He's just the consummate pro. We were just talking to Yannick Breit about him the other day, and he said, if he were my coach, I would run through walls for him. He said he's just so professional. He's the first person at every meeting. He said he's literally the first guy to show up at every meeting. He's never late for anything, never late for the bus, never late for a meeting. He is very helpful to the younger guys. He said he even scolds him about what he eats. Sometimes in the cafeteria, he will point out to some of the other players that maybe what they're eating isn't as healthy or that their portions are too big or whatever. So anyway, that one was a little more expected and not surprising. Jordi Alba is playing really well. He just scored 2 goals the other day. Remember, he's a left back.
Mm-hmm.
He's a left back. He has 13 assists this season, which is second only to Messi. Messi has 17. Jordi Alba has 13 assists, and he's a defensive back. He's a left back. So he's playing really well. He's at the top of his game. He still has speed. He's actually one of the quicker guys on this team. This team does not have too much speed, but Jordi Alba is one of the faster guys, even at 36. And the fact that he just signed a contract extension. So that one was a very big surprise. Yes.
Then you look at the back line for this matchup coming up with Atlanta United. And I know I'm drifting in and out of thoughts and questions too, because I've got like 98 questions for you. The back line, how much of a concern is it for Javier Mascherano consistently? Is it a question for Javier Mascherano? And then coming into this matchup, I guess, what are his concerns so far?
Yeah, the defense in the back line the defense in general and the back line, and defense, particularly in transition. The majority of the goals that they get, they score a lot of goals. They have scored 68 goals, which is more than any team in MLS. So they're the leading scoring team in the league. So you would think that the leading scoring team in the league would be in first place, but they also give up a lot of goals. They're among the lower teams in the Eastern Conference as far as goals conceded. And a lot of those goals have been in transition. And Javier Mascherano and the players talk about it, they play a very attacking style. And this was the case with Tata also. They play a very attractive attacking style. Everyone loves to watch it. It's beautiful to watch. They pass a lot, they possess. Excuse me. But they're high up the field a lot because they're always in attack mode. Even Jordi Alba, as a left back, is always streaking up the left side, and that leaves a gigantic space in back in which they're vulnerable. So that's on Jordi's side, but in general, the team is an attacking team. They don't have too much speed. So when they get caught in transition and they lose the ball, if they lose the ball high up the field and the other team has speed, you can always see the Inter Miami players chasing. They end up getting outnumbered. And that is where a lot of their goals are conceded. So, he's moved around people on the back line. He's not had a consistent pairing in the middle. Maxi Falcone has been a constant, and he's been very good. He provides leadership. He's a tough guy. He's really good. So he's pretty much started most of the games. But then the other center back has been rotated. It's been Gonzalo Lujan. Sometimes Noah Allen plays there. They like Noah Allen, but Noah Allen is a left back, but Jordi Alba's a left back. So sometimes they play Jordi at left back. They put Noah Allen as a center back with Maxi. Sometimes it's Lujan. Sometimes it's Toto Aviles and Lujan. Sometimes it's Toto Aviles and Maxi. So they don't have a really set pairing in the middle. So I think that that's been a bit of a problem. They don't have the consistency. And also just in general, most of their goals are given up in transition. So it's not even necessarily the fault of the back line. It's the fault of the midfielders who don't have the speed and the defenders who don't have this. It's just not a fast team. It's a high scoring, attractive team with a lot of stars, but they don't have speed. They're older and they don't have speed. I mean, Sergio Busquets is brilliant. He's a genius, but he's not fast.
No. 7 absences going into this international window. Noah Allen, Rodrigo de Paul, Ian Frey, Messi, Santi Morales, Talasco Segovia, Matteo Silvetti, who scored yesterday for Argentina in the U20s. There's talk that Messi might be returning for the weekend and coming back for the rest of the window. What's the latest on the absences and possible returns for the stretch run here?
Yeah, I mean, the really big question is Messi. He's been training all week so far with the Argentina national team. They're training at the Inter Miami training facility. They're playing Friday night against Venezuela at Hard Rock Stadium here. And then they were supposed to go to Chicago for a game on Monday against Puerto Rico. And that game is being moved here. They're saying because of demonstrations on the streets of Chicago. I also think the tickets weren't doing great, the ticket sales. That may also be a factor. Whatever the case, or a combination of factors, it looks like that game is going to be played at Chase Stadium in Fort Lauderdale on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. So the big question is, will Lionel Messi play for Argentina Friday night against Venezuela, or is he going to skip that game and play against Atlanta? Now, going into the FIFA window, everybody just assumed he's going to play for Argentina. He always picks country. He loves the Argentina national team. But it is a friendly. The game against Atlanta is important. This team is in third place, but there are 2 teams breathing down their necks right now, Charlotte and NYCFC, and they want to finish as high as they can. They want to get home field advantage in the playoffs. They want to have as high a seeding as they can. Even though last year, you know what happened because you're Atlanta. Yes. They were the top seed and they lost to Atlanta in the opening round. But They don't want a repeat of that, but they really do want to finish strong. And so it is an important game. This Atlanta game is a very important game to Inter Miami. They want to finish strong. They want to win an MLS Cup. They've had a chance to win 4 trophies this year. They have not won any of the other 3. This is it. This is all they have now. They're already out of the Supporter Shield race, which they won last year. They lost in the final of the Leagues Cup. They lost in the semifinals of the Champions Cup. They made it to the knockout round of the Club World Cup, but they got knocked out there, which was expected by PSG. So now there's only one trophy in their reach, and that's MLS Cup. And they really, really want it. And especially with Busquets, with Boosie and Jordi retiring, they would love nothing more than to send those 2 guys off with a trophy. You know, beautiful photo it would be of all those Barcelona boys holding up one last trophy. You know, that's how they want this movie to end. And they don't want to, you know, they don't want to limp into the playoffs. So I would not be surprised, especially because no one has said for sure. But I will tell you that Mascherano has been very non-committal and vague about who's going to be available on Saturday. And more importantly, Scaloni, the Argentina coach, has said, well, you know, we're going to talk to Leo and see how he's feeling, because he has played 90 full minutes, 7 games in a row over 21 days, which is true. He's played 7 games, 90 minutes over 21 days, and he's 38 years old. So Scaloni said, if anyone, you know, we don't want to risk anything. If anyone is tired, if they're fatigued, we're not going to play them. It's a friendly. Well, they could say, you know, Messi is fatigued. He's been playing 7 games in 21 days, even though it's just one more day of rest to play versus Atlanta. But that would be the narrative. The narrative would be he's tired. He needs an extra day of rest. Plus, Inter Miami has an important game on Saturday against Atlanta. So we're just going to let him skip this game. And then guess what? The other game, how convenient. It was moved to Chase Stadium. Unbelievable demonstrations in Chicago. The game was moved to Chase Stadium. It has not been officially reported, but it is going to happen. That would be on Tuesday. Messi would have a few days, and you know what? He could put in an appearance for the Argentine national team on Tuesday. He could show up on the bench Friday. He could stand there and be present at Hard Rock Stadium for the game against Venezuela, but not go in the game, play Saturday against Atlanta, and then play against Puerto Rico, which will be an easier game, honestly, against not a such a strong rival as Venezuela on Tuesday at their home at Chase Stadium, 10 minutes from where he lives. So it could all work out for Mr. Messi the way it always seems to.
All right, go ahead and hit the promo for me. Everything that we've always wanted to know about Inter Miami and we're afraid to ask, you always have the answers. Let everybody know where they can catch up with you and read all your stuff, listen to all your stuff, all the things.
Right. Well, I write for the Miami Herald. I've been covering soccer for 36 years. Unbelievable. This will be my 7th World Cup coming up.
Wow.
Anyway, you can read me at miamiherald.com. On Twitter, I'm at Kauf Sports, Kauf Sports, at Kauf Sports. And yeah, I have a podcast called Inside Inter Miami from the Miami Herald. It runs every Wednesday. So feel free to jump in on that. It's on YouTube, it's on Spotify, it's on Apple, wherever you catch your podcasts. And I'm everywhere. I'm all over the place.
Yes, you are. And we've seen you everywhere, and we've seen you all over the place. So this is an actual fact. Michelle, thank you for dropping by for Opposition Research. You answered the questions that were burning in folks' minds, especially in this footprint. You now know where the key is under the mat. You now know where the garage door opener is under the stairs. If you ever want to come in and crash, vent your spleen on a Friday, sit there and go Intel or anything like that, you now know how to drop in. Come by anytime, and you know we'll be knocking on your door soon. Thanks for dropping by.
That'd be great. By the way, how about the news that Tata looks like is going to end up back in MLS? I mean, you know, I know they loved him in Atlanta. We loved him in Miami. And what a great opportunity that would be for LAFC to replace Cherundolo with Tata, who loves MLS. He really does love coaching here. And he did a great job in Atlanta, clearly. And he did an outstanding job here. They were on top of the league the entire season, even with Messi missing 2.5 months.
Mm-hmm.
He missed 2.5 months last year, and Tata kept that team on top. They lost to Atlanta in the first round, but that, in my opinion, that was not Tata's fault. That was an amazing performance by Atlanta. Brad Guzan played out of his mind.
He did.
The Miami Stars did not really play like stars in that series, partly because of Atlanta, but partly they were off. But I think it would be great to have Tata back in MLS. I think that would be a wonderful hire.
You get him out there in LA with Yeonmin Son and Denny Bouanga and all that firepower.
Yes.
That would be a treat for the Western Conference to finally get to see what we've seen in the Eastern Conference for a very long time. If that does come to pass, I'm looking forward to it, and obviously, we're going to be keeping an eye on that too. Like I said, don't be a stranger. It was fantastic to be able to catch up with you because we saw you here for the Club World Cup, and we're like, yes, we need to make sure that we add Michelle to the stacks of folks that we can talk to on a timely basis for things like this. Do not be a stranger.
All right, great.
Good to see you.
Take care. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Michelle Kaufman, Miami Herald. And like I told Michelle when she came in, I literally said, you're like our choice A, B, and C for anything and everything Inter Miami. And I was glad that we were able to catch up with her and get the opposition research because that Messi question is the burning question. And Michelle laid all of it out for you where it could be, he stands and does the palatial wave, the imitation palatial wave from the sidelines for the first friendly for Argentina. And then all of a sudden, magically, he pops up. Hey, he's in pink on the weekend for the matchup with Atlanta United. You're staring at a lineup that would already have something akin to Suarez, Busquets, and Alba. And then if you were to add Messi to that, you don't know what Atlanta United is going to look like. You could have maybe 12 or 13 first-team players because of the 7 absences that Atlanta United has, technically 8, but you should be getting Cooper Sanchez back from the U17s. You don't know what the Atlanta United lineup is going to look like. You don't know how many more emergency call-up minutes and folks who have emergency call-ups. You don't know what that's going to look like. So this will be interesting, and I'm glad that Michelle was able to address the elephant in the room when it comes to what it could look like this weekend. So you'd have the big 4. You would not have, and here are the absences right now for Miami for Messi and friends. So Messi and friends, here's who they're missing currently. Noah Allen, Rodrigo De Paul, Ian Frey, Messi, Santi Morales, Talasco Segovia, Matteo Silvetti. That's what is missing at the moment. Rodrigo De Paul, he probably stays with the Albiceleste. Silvetti is busy, and then everybody else is just kind of, they're off with their international teams and keeping an eye on that. Noah Allen with the U21s with Greece. So you've got 3 of the big 4. You bring in Messi, and then you would have those 4 that are there. You would have, and I asked about the back line. Maxi Falcone's got fantastic hair. Is it, you look at Lujan, Falcone, Baltazar Rodriguez, Aviles, and you don't know if it's going to be Ustari or Roca Rios Novo in net. That's 9. Then you're looking at midfield, and let me look real quick. We'll get you ready for the U20s coming up in just a sec. So Sofa score. Let me go and see what the last lineup was for Messi and friends. Okay, so last lineup for Messi and friends before the international break. And it was in the win over New England. You had Jordi Alba, Noah Allen, Maxi Falcone, and Frey. Busquets, Rodrigo, Baltazar Rodriguez, Tadeo Allende, and then it was Messi and Suarez. So that's pretty much what it would look like. You get Messi back. You'd have Suarez. You don't have Rodrigo De Paul. You'd have Baltazar Rodriguez. You'd have some of the back line that's there, and Rocco was in net on the weekend. You have Yannick Bright, who would be a part of the discussion. You've got Aviles, Lujan, Cello Weigant, Ryan Saylor, Santi Morales, and Fafa Pico is out on international duty. So it would be having Morales, Saylor, Cello Weigant, Ustaria Rios Novo in net, Lujan, Aviles, Yannick Bright, adding that to the mix with Falcone and Suarez, Messi, Baltazar Rodriguez, and Busquets and Jordi Alba. So that's kind of what you're looking at for that lineup, at least, 13, 14 deep or so, when you are staring at what it could be for Messi and friends this weekend as Atlanta United goes down and takes on Messi and friends on the weekend. So there you go. We'll check juice boxes a little later in our segment with Niko Moreno when we go cliffhanger, and we'll lay all of that out for you. Okay, so yes. Let's see. Here's what he would say. Messi. There you go. He's an impenetrable wall of sports speak. Yeah, and morning Harry, by the way. Golden Boot finishing higher. Yeah, they have the matches in hand, and that was one of the. And now I was torn as to whether or not we'd have the time to discuss, because Michelle said she only had like 15 minutes. And I knew I was on the clock with her, but she went ahead and answered the question that was in my head about Lionel Messi. How do you cover a team that's got Lionel Messi and Messi doesn't have a press conference? And that's one of the big things. But, like I said, Michelle Kaufman, she's got the everything you always wanted to know about Inter Miami podcast and we're afraid to ask. She answers. But that's always one of the things that has intrigued me about this relationship is that he's the team captain. You like to talk to him, but you haven't. Like, you walked in the door and then that's it. So it has been intriguing, to say the very least, when it comes to covering Messi and friends, how you cover Messi and friends when the friends are the ones that are answering the question. Standings, just so we've got them, and like I said, we'll go over juice boxes and things with Niko coming up late in hour number 2. So it is right now, Messi and friends with a match in hand. They win. They are at 18 wins, but they would have superior goal difference over Cincinnati with everybody being caught up. So 62 points going into decision day, keeping an eye on Cincinnati if they were to win this weekend. If Atlanta United holds them to a lesser result, then they've got to win and get some help on decision day if Miami's going to be the 2. Philadelphia's in the barn. They can't get caught. Right now, the battle for the 2 is Cincinnati, Messi, and friends. So that's kind of where you are right there with that going into the weekend. At home, 10-3-3, 7-4, and 5 away from home. Okay, U20s. Let me get you this sound with Marko Mitrovic, and then you end up with total wins first. And so literally, if you're tied in points, Messi and friends are a win behind. It would be 19-18 if they win on the weekend. Cincinnati would have the tiebreaker. So you need to have a superior result if you're tied with points on match day last. So that's what you're staring at with tiebreakers and such. So Messi and friends have some work to do. They've left some points on the table, and I'm sure that they will rue those opportunities about trying to get those points, especially if they end up as the 3 with the same number of points as FC Cincinnati. So we'll get into that in a bit. Okay, let me play this before we get to the top of the hour, and our buddy Nino Torres joins us really quickly. It is catching up with Marko Mitrovic and getting you ready for everything going on. They discussed the loss to South Africa and getting ready for Italy today. This is courtesy of our friends at US Soccer, and it was where is it? US Soccer, and what's my other courtesy? US Soccer, and you click open an email. Veritone, thank you. US Soccer and Veritone. And so this is Marko Mitrovic getting you ready for the matchup coming up this afternoon in the U20s, US and Italy down in Chile.
Listen, I would say like this. We took this tournament as a day by day. And no matter what was the yesterday, we have to go today to do everything to use this day on the best possible way. I think that this group is very strong. And now we are talking about like one loss where there are so many positives, even in that game, and through the whole group stage. So that we don't even pay attention on that. Like, we lost the game. We understand that, but we won a first place in a very, very strong and demanding group, knowing that both France and South Africa are 2 elite teams, and somewhere beside going to the next round, one of our objectives was to win the first place, to stay here, and that because the next two games we're in the same city, using same hotel, playing at the same stadium. So the things that are great certainty for us, and that's what matters for us. And to be fair, I don't think that anybody's talking here about like, oh, we lost against South Africa. Like it's not that we're ignoring that. It's more like we are where we are. We earned our spot with great performances. In even that game, we had so many good moments that we can talk about. Maybe final outcome wasn't great, but we had so many good moments in that game that we have to take it as a positive and keep growing as a group.
What are your impressions of Italy? If I could just ask that quickly.
Listen, every team that comes from Europe has a certain tactical level, and knowing that Italians are always a team that has a lot of tactical flexibility. That's number one. Number two, if we go historically through the World Cups, they are maybe not the team that plays the most beautiful soccer, or they are maybe most attractive team, but they always find a way, to kind of compete. And something that we are very off, they have a certain style of playing, and they are very, very, very competitive team. As I said, this group, like every other Italian national team, knows how to compete and play on results. And we just have to be very focused and patient in a game, in every action, so to get the best outcome from the game.
Marko Mitrovic, the head coach of the U20s, as they get ready for the matchup against Italy. And that one, once again, is at 3:30 this afternoon. We'll be watching. We'll be locked in on that one, and we will let you know, obviously, how things are. But, as we were saying, the juice boxes in that one, it started out with the U.S. being a decided favorite on the minus side, and it has swung completely. It has swung to where the U.S. is still favored, but they're now favored on the plus side. And so that's the big thing involving what we're staring at with the U20s and the U.S. Do not be surprised if Bart Keeler joins us to bat leadoff tomorrow morning, and I'm just telling him this right now, to break everything down from today, tomorrow, to lead us into the weekend. And tomorrow, by the way, Steve Cangelosi is going to be joining us at 10 o'clock. So the Kanji Man is going to be joining us at 10. He will be here for his first visit of the season, and he is calling the Atlanta United Messi and Friends match this weekend. And so we'll get his thoughts on basically everything that Michelle Kaufman laid out for us, and we will go from there with the Kanji Man. So Cangelosi is going to be joining us at 10 o'clock tomorrow, and we're looking forward to it. Okay, it is that time. 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 You want to talk about somebody who's gassed up and ready to go? He comes in fully loaded. I have topics. I haven't seen them. That's how we always do this. And we get to cover what's going on in and around the planet. Our buddy Nino Torres from GOLTV. Yo!
Yellow, Soccer Down here, fans. Nino Torres with you, fully loaded as always on this gorgeous Thursday in Peru. There's absolutely no sun whatsoever. The clouds are dominating the skies here in Lima as always, and we're here ready to go.
So as always, as I tell people, you have your topics, and I don't see them until this moment when I go into my phone and I let you know what is on Nino's mind. I have 5 topics, and I did, by the way, I'm going to skip to topic number 4 because we did mention it briefly this morning as one of the breaking stories, the developing stories that came out of soccer on the evening, where one of the true legends of the game passes away with after a valiant fight with cancer at the age of 69. And if you could, can you quantify what he meant to the world of soccer? And we're talking about obviously Miguel Russo, and to see him in his fight with cancer, still on the touchline with Boca Juniors. And oh wait, you got somebody? Did we lose someone else? Oh, I was like, because I was like, it was to see him on that touchline in his as he was fighting cancer. I thought it was one of the bravest things that you could do. But that's what the sport meant to him. That's what he meant to the sport. What are we missing? What will we miss now with him not with us?
It's where would I start, man? Especially when he came here, he coached here in Peru. He coached Alianza Lima, and the first thing that I remember from him, the first thing that comes to my mind is how kind he was. You know, how he approached everyone with respect and always with a smile. And it's hard to do that when you're being attacked from multiple places. Right, the guy always with a smile, always addressing the media, the players, the people, the fans, with kindness and respect. And that's the first thing that I remember from Miguel Angel Russo. And of course, they know all the soccer achievements. You know, he was the last coach to win the Copa Libertadores with Boca Juniors, and they were dreaming, wishing, hoping that he could let us again to the almighty Copa Libertadores, going back to to Boca Juniors. But I guess it's a trophy that he's gonna carry up there where he is now, man.
And looking and full disclosure, when we have Fanatis on here in the office, when we're not watching you, we're watching Teise a lot, and Teise has gone wall to wall, as they should. The crowd outside the La Bombonera is huge. There is a queue that looks like it's wrapped around the corner, and they're just outside the gates. And you have a lot of it's a quad box. I mean, that is all the attention that they're giving to it.
Yeah.
El Mundo del Fútbol despide a Miguel Angel Russo, and that is, I mean, that's what he meant, and it's just to see the outpouring from a fan base and from a country and from a region when you lose someone like Miguel Angel Russo. It reminds us about why we come together to watch this game. And it reminds us about all of those pieces that make the game what it is, whether it's a person, a philosophy, a club, a rivalry, whatever. It's what always sticks with us in these times.
Yeah, and he was just a fighter, you know, because lately in the last I don't know, couple of months, maybe more. I would say like 3 months. I saw him in press conferences, and he was like, and I was worried. I was like, these guys. Like I knew the end was coming. You know, I just knew it. I just didn't want to believe it. But there were several shots of him. Right, the camera looking at the silence at the bench, and many times he was sleeping, man. He was falling asleep, and it's like, and people in the media, oh, no, this is so sad, but in a, not in a respectful way, you know. And really, sometimes we just analyze things that are from a different perspective, and we don't take in consideration that this guy was battling cancer, man. It's not like he was taking a nap because he's an old dude. No. He was battling cancer, and he ended up losing his fight. But sometimes I think that we in the media we gotta take a little
have some
seconds
and understanding. I mean, think about the energy that it takes to coach a club in the first place. And you take that energy, and he is investing that energy in a battle with cancer and trying to continue to be there for the club that he was representing. And if the man's gassed, You got to understand the why about all this, man. Everything that he's investing, all of the energy, all of the love, all of the be there, the want to, all of these things, he is throwing at anything at 100 miles an hour so he can continue to be the individual that he is.
And for a healthy person, it's so demanding the coaching position, the head coach position of a club that like Boca Juniors, and it's just not only about the physicality, the passion. It's all the pressure, man. This is the enormous amount of pressure that it means that to be the head coach of Boca Juniors. I think it's more pressure on Boca Juniors coach than the national team. I think Scaloni has less pressure than the coach of Boca Juniors, and on top of that, he was leading the team to a comeback. I mean, on top of all that, among all these situations that he was going through, the team started to play better. You know, they were undefeated for like 6, 7 games, and they're like, okay, we're getting in rhythm now, and he's not gonna see the final result.
But
man. Probably
I mean, but you have, and what I would hope, and we all have disciples. We all have those folks that, we look at it. We look at a touchstone. We look at a role model, and it's up to us now for those who are influenced by those individuals to carry on their message, to carry on their fight, their love, all of those things that matter when it comes to the game. It's up to us now to carry on what we know and remember and love about Miguel Angel Russo. For those that are tied to him in whatever aspect, whether it's Alianza Lima, Boca Juniors, doesn't matter. Whatever he did to touch you and hang on to you, it's our job going forward to spread that word and remind everybody about individuals like this so they don't get lost in time.
Yes, and that gives me it takes me back to what I said at the beginning, right? His kindness and how he approached everyone with respect. That's the kind of leadership that I like to see in a coach, man. And
yeah,
I'll do.
Okay, let's get into the other things, but yes, do not forget Miguel Angel Russo. Remember him and carry him forward. That is our lone request this morning. Peruvian soccer revolution with the national team. Topic number 2. What's going on there?
Brother, I am so happy, man. And now I'm so happy now. I'm so pumped about my Peruvian national team because I've been preaching this for, I think, the entire year. I mean, the entire year, I think people is getting sick and tired of me in Spanish when I talk about this, but it's the truth, man. And I'm so happy when I saw the first international call up, Johnny. I was finally, because I was so tired of this group of players that led us to the World Cup in 2018. Then they became so complacent. They believe that they had all figured out. They believe that we own them something, right? I mean, we do, right? I mean, thank you very much. It was 7 years ago, brother. That was 7 years ago. You can rub it in my face now when you go and the qualifiers in 9 plays out of 10. The easiest, right? The easiest qualifiers in the history of the World Cup. We didn't get through. We get out. All right, we were ousted by freaking Venezuela, by Bolivia, by everyone else. Okay, we're dead last, and you're telling me that I have to do something for you? No, this is the end of the road for you, for all of you, right? And the interim coach was he was not fired. He termed his contract was designed to be terminated the day after the.
It's like,
yeah. You know, and it's crazy, right? So his contract was he signed a contract the day after we played the last game in the qualifiers. I'm out. Okay, yeah, this is your contract, perfect. And then people are like, oh, why he didn't stay? Because that was his contract. His contract said your contract ends on September 9th of 2025. Good luck. Right? No, the media is no. Why he didn't continue? We still have to play. We still have to play for these FIFA international breaks. For what? For it's friendlies. The friendlies. What's the it's a friendly. We don't need to continue with another interim coach. All right. So Gian Ferrari, who's now the technical director of the Peruvian national team, he had as the chief of the under 20, under 17, under 19 teams as Manuel Barreto. So both of the number 1 and number 2 from Universitario, they went to the Peruvian Soccer Federation.
Okay.
Right? And he made a decision. He took a decision. You know what? I'm gonna have Barreto coaching these couple of games for the rest of the year, and then we're gonna focus on bringing a head coach uh, for the process, right? For a process that means that we're going to start to process this in 2026 to the next World Cup. So we're thinking of the process for the next 4 years, right? We're not going to hire the coach right away because we don't need a coach right away. Okay. So first international call up, we got how many players? I think it's I want to say 8. Give it a take. 8, 23 and under. 23 and under. We haven't seen this in forever. In forever, John. In forever. And we call up kids that they're playing in Germany, they're playing in Italy, they're playing in England. All right, all these Peruvian players, right? They could have played for their teams, right, for the national team squad, but they're not. They were born abroad, right? They were born in Germany, so they had that citizenship, but the parents are Peruvians. So we are just focusing on expanding the universe of players.
That brother, that's what you're doing.
Yeah, we're scouting. Yeah, brother, scouting like crazy. And by the way, this is another Peruvian player that plays in the Orlando City, in the reserve of Orlando City. I forgot his name. Is Peruvian. He scored 22 goals in 33 games or so. So check it out.
Hang on. I'm going to Orlando City B. We'll come up with the answer. Keep talking.
Orlando City B. You're gonna see the striker. It's a Peruvian striker. I forgot his name, but he's there. So we're focusing on that. You know, all those 30 and over, 35 and over. Thank you for your services. It's time for new blood. It's time for the young blood. All right. And I'm so pumped, man. I'm so pumped because finally somebody had the guts to say, I'm not gonna call you anymore, guys, from 2018 roster. Thank you so much. We're starting from zero. All right. And then we're starting now, and we're starting today. And all the players are in Videna, which is like five blocks. No, it's about, I want to say 10 blocks away from my house. And finally, man, I've been calling for this for all year long. I'm sick of these guys from the 2018. All right, I don't owe you anything. All right, all of you, David Justice. All right, you remember David Justice and Moneyball? Yeah, all of them. Just imagine not just one David Justice, but 8 David Justice in your team. No. Thank you. Good night and good luck, brother. Bye-bye. Yeah, I'm so happy, man.
I mean, as you should, because and the thing is that when you look at El Tree, they waited too long to turn things over.
I know.
And I think it's safe to say the same thing was going on with your national team. It's like you waited too long to sit there, and it's like, look, we have to purge the veterans so we can make sure that everybody else, the younger dudes, get their shot, because we're going to age out and we're going to be slow and it's going to be painful. Literally all you got to do. All you got to do is sit there. If you are in your country, if you're a fan of Peruvian soccer, all you got to do is point north and go, look at Mexico, man. They waited too late. You see what's happening with them. We can't afford to do that. And
it's same thing with Chile. You don't have to look. No, it was same with Chile because they were still calling the group that won the 2 Copa Americas 10 years ago, brother. Arturo Vidal, Gary Medel. No, brother. They're 35, 34, 35, 36, 37 years old. I don't want you guys. I don't want you. Just go out there and cheer for the team from the stands. All right. I'll give you tickets. I'll give you tickets for all the Peruvian national games. All right. You know, it is what it is. And, you know, this is the crazy part, Johnny, that in the media, right? Thank God that Paulo Guerrero, he just announced he's going to retire next year. Please, brother, he's going to 42. He's turning 42. It's about time, right? 42, I think is you're kind of all for professional soccer. So, but in the media, they were saying, you know what? we don't have a striker, and I cannot believe, right? I cannot see the possibility of not calling Pablo Guerrero for the next qualifiers. The guy's gonna be 50, man. He's gonna play for AARP national team, man.
AARPFC.
Yeah, he's gonna be the captain for that team. Are you still gonna call him to play the? No, no.
Man. Oh, that's woo. Okay, the only Peruvians I'm coming up with are Wilder Cartagena, who's out on injury, and Yoshi Yotun, who is playing.
No, why it's not? Why it's not?
Because I keep
it was Orlando
I
B.
looked,
You
at,
see,
I looked
right?
at Orlando City B, and they weren't scoring a whole lot of goals.
Which one is it?
Yeah, you'll find it, and we'll sit there and go, yeah, that dude. Yeah, because I get to see Yoshi Yotun playing for Sporting Cristal, and I thought that might be where it was. But okay, TV rights, because I know that last week that was drama. You have you got like TV rights and things going on. So you have telenovela is the way of life in Liga Uno, and Universitario still lead the tournament. So what is going on in this telenovela? Dos Mujeres Un Camino, I guess, with Universitario.
Hey, listen, it doesn't have to be with the TV rights. Actually,
yes,
telenovelas here in Peru, right? It's amazing, man. It's just amazing. There's a whole conspiracy theory about because Jan Ferrari now is the technical director of the national team. He is moving the pieces, right? He's the master of the puppets in the Liga Uno. He doesn't have to do anything with the Liga Uno. Nothing. He has he cannot say anything about the Liga Uno because there are two different entities. They're separated. All right, they're separated. No, and what's the funny thing is that Johnny, front office managers from Alianza Lima, from Sporting Cristal, they're going on national TV saying that, yeah, you know what, the EU has all figured out because Jan Ferrer does the schedule for them. He doesn't have a single word in the schedule for the Peruvian National League. All right, and they're going on this channel, on the other channel. Yeah, it's all about the U. It's all about Universitario. You guys are you bought this tournament, man. This tournament is being bought by Universitario Deportes. You're not ashamed of yourself, brother, to go out there and say these things. And then we got the Alianza Lima. Alianza Lima lost back-to-back games, right? And in both games, they were interviewing the players and they were saying this.
You fix, yeah. I just have
everything is fixed. I'm so sad for the Peruvian league because it used to be a tournament where everybody has a shot, but looks like now there's only one team that has a shot. Of course, because there's the best team in the nation. Because they got the best defense, the best offense, and we destroy teams on the pitch. We don't cry about it. We don't cry about that we play in a stadium that have no seats. We don't cry about anything. We just go out there and play. And we've been kicking your asses,
and
all of you guys.
What you speak is the truth, because right now you are 8 points clear of Cusco. You have not lost so far this season. You meaning Universitario. You are 9-3-0. How many losses? That number in the first 12. 8 points clear. You've only given up 8 goals in the first 12 matches. You've scored 23. So you're averaging about two on the board every time out. You've won 5 in a row on the spin. Cusco has lost 3 of 4 heading into this weekend. And like I said, full disclosure, when I watch the league now, I naturally gravitate towards Sporting Cristal because of Luis Abram and his time with Atlanta United. So it's like, I get to see Luis Abram naturally now. And so I'm looking at Yoshi Yotun, right? Yeah. And so Sporting Cristal right now is in 4th. They're at 19 points. AD Tarma. What is an AD Tarma, and how have they gone unbeaten in 5?
Well, let me tell you, man. Tarma is probably the, I want to say, not probably, is the toughest place to play in the Liga Uno. Not Cusco, not Cajamarca. No, it is Tarma, because for some strange reason, it's not as high as Cusco. Like Cusco is like 12,000 feet. Arequipa is 11. Tarma is like 9,000. but they're sitting in a valley, and every player that goes there tells you the same thing. It's just like the stadium sucks you in, and you like you just can't move. I don't know how to
No, but
explain,
it's like
brother,
it's
but
like you're getting suffocated. It's just like everything. Yeah.
right. Right, but but it's crazy because it's the location. I don't know what it is. And on top of that, of course, the team plays very good. The team plays very good. He's well organized. They got the leading striker in the Apertura. They sold him to Melgar, but they still figured out to manage to score from different points. And Tarma is so difficult to play against, man. And in Universitario Deportes plays this Sporting Cristal and Universitario play in the National Stadium on Wednesday the 15th. All right, that's the last Clásico of the Liga Uno, and then after that, Universitario goes to Tarma. So if Universitario wins this game against Cristal and they manage to get a win out of Tarma like we did last year, won a long goal. But it was that was the last year, but the last in the Apertura we lost in Tarma. So it's always rough to play in Tarma. Okay. So if Universitario wins back to back and Cusco drops 1 point, Universitario will win with 3 games on hand.
All right.
Will 3 games on hand will win the Apertura, and they will close the season because this tournament was designed to get playoffs, to get the number 1 versus number 8, and but there's a problem here because Universitario won the Apertura, and they're gonna win the Clausura. So, guys, you got to do your playoff and figure out the number 2, number 3, whatever you want to play. But number 1 is undisputable, and this is the out of the 3 years in a row that Universitario Deportes is being the champion. This is the best version. It's the most complete version of Universitario Deportes. Why? Because they started the process under Jorge Fossati in 2023, and now he went to the national team. He came back, and now they sustained almost, I want to say, 75% of the roster, 75% of the starters are the same from the 2023 season. So this is a team that knows each other well. They gel with each other. The new pieces fitting in, and everybody's locked in, and everybody's absolutely locked in. They're on a mission. They not say the word repeat. They not say that. And they just like, we're thinking of the next game. Think on the next game. Think on the next game. That's all we think about. And but everybody else, all the other teams are saying, oh, the repeat. Stop the repeat. No, it's funny, right? How everybody talks about the repeat, but the players, the team that is about to get the repeat, they don't talk about it.
Portugal. There are 2 teams that have not lost a game this year so far in the standings, and they played each other last time out. And I don't know if you know this, but one of those 2 teams, they got a new coach who's an old coach for them, and I don't know if you've heard of this guy, but
maybe
Jose Moreno, I believe is his name. And he's
right.
like 25 years to the day was when he started the second tour at this place called Benfica. And Benfica played Porto last time out. Porto, going into that matchup, they'd run the table 7-0, 21 points. Yeah. It's like, good luck, all the things. So apparently this Jose dude in the Clásico with Porto for Benfica, he did some things that really doesn't surprise any of us. But he got a result that no one else had gotten so far this season going up against Porto.
They got a point. He got
dinged him.
his point. And, he parked the bus, the RV, Grandpa's caddy, the boat, everything. He parked everything in front of Porto. And he did it so well. It was a Mourinho's masterclass on how to shut down an opponent. He did it against that marvelous team of Lionel Messi and company back in 2010 when they won the Champions League. And I'm not gonna say that this Porto team was like that Barcelona, but in the league they are Barcelona 2009. In the league right now, it's an absolute dominant team. that they can run all the shows that they want and nobody's stopping it. Right. So, but you know what? It was impressive, man. It was impressive for me. I mean, from the commentator standpoint, I was not happy about it because I got not many goal scoring situations, right? But so since I didn't have that, so I started to point out the defensive points from Moreno, right? So it was a clear 4-4-2. They were moving as a unit. They were moving as a unit. Everybody goes up, everybody goes down, everybody to the left, everybody to the right. Everything was so compact that you cannot find a single flaw on that defensive proposal from Mourinho. And the only thing that I was mad about it is like Farioli, the head coach for Porto, didn't start. I mean, I know he was not going to start him because he played 95 minutes on Thursday and to win the game for Porto in the Europa League. Rodrigo Mora, the Harry Potter of soccer, of Portuguese soccer. He put the kid. Well, how many in the 89th minute, Johnny? Don't do that, man. 89 minutes, really? I know he's a magician, but even for a magician, 6 minutes is nothing because they gave 5 minutes of injury time. And guess what? The very first ball that he touched, the very first ball, he hit the crossbar. Oh my God! It was a massive counterattack. I was like, this guy scores this when I just drop the mic here and walk away, man. You know, I just drop the mic and walk away. But I believe if he would start Rodrigo Mora, I don't know, give the guy 20 minutes, right? Not 5. Give the guy 20 minutes.
Yeah,
they would have won the game. They would have won that game. No doubt in my mind. Because he was the only one. You know, when you got defenses like this, either you got a set piece, a deadly counter attack, or a magical act from a player that can bring the magic to the pitch. Those are the only 3 ways to break a defense like this. And it didn't happen, but Mourinho walked out alive out of Dragao. That was his goal, and he accomplished. And now we'll see what happens the next game. All right, Johnny, because they're going to Moreirense, and Moreirense is a team that is yet to lose at home. They're perfect at home. So watch out, Moreno. You got to play now. Now you got to play to win games. All right, not just defend yourself. All right.
We got a couple of weeks before the next go rounds of things. I know we have your Throwback Thursday stuff with World Cup memories. I want to get into that really quick, but I also want to know, what are you calling this weekend? You got it off, or what are you doing?
No, I'm calling all Peñarol, all Uruguay. All Uruguay. The Uruguayans, they don't stop. They don't care about international breaks. They just keep playing, brother. They just keep playing. I'm so glad for it, man.
Yes, Plaza Colonia and Progreso start things off tomorrow night at 6. Okay, World Cup memories. What's your TBT?
TBT Thursday. Was awesome. It was this is the goal that I screened the most before my Peruvian national team got into the World Cup. This is the most fondest memory that I have on a goal scoring from South American team. Colombia versus Germany, 1990, 1-0 to the 86th minute, and Federico scores in between the legs of Bodo Illner. Dude, I was having lunch, like, my God, yes, Colombia. I was going up and down, going crazy, because it was just a phenomenal. I thought that they were gonna get beat. They were gonna get run over by that almighty Germany players, but no, they handled it. They put some cafe to this thing, and all the tiki taka back in the days. That was the tiki taka was created. What they were like? They didn't create it. It was Colombia in that year they created, and they got it, and they went through, and then Higuita ruined it in the next round with Cameroon. But still,
a lot of folks remember that Cameroonian run too from that tournament. So what are you calling, sir, on GOLTV this weekend?
We're going with Nacional Danube on Sunday. We got an early bird again. This is not that early. 10:30 in the morning on Liverpool Racing.
Okay.
And then Saturday night we're going Cerro versus
Got it.
Defensor.
Okay, so you get to chill for your friends in Kentucky with Boston River going to Cerro Largo. You get to chill for that.
Yep. Yeah. A
But,
little bit. Yeah.
I mean, they get 10:30 in the morning. Well, look at it this way. At least you didn't have to do a Montevideo City and Wanderers after doing Cerro and Defensor on Saturday night.
I know, that's my boy Manu Oyola. He's calling that one. I think it's at 8 in the morning.
8:30. 8:30.
8:30.
8:30.
If he say 8:30, brother, I gotta get up at 6, go to the gym. You know, I don't know, do something before to be ready. You know, to get ready, man. It's
But
crazy.
I
man.
do give Uruguay a lot of credit that you don't stack. You don't sit there and have multiple games going at once. You literally go bing, 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 bing. It's one after the other after the other. You don't have like 3 games going at one time. So folks are sitting there and they're going, okay, what do we have to pay attention to? It's 10:30, it's 1, it's 4, and it's 6:30 on Saturday. It's 8:30 in the morning, 11 and 2 on Sunday morning, and wow, breakfast with Montevideo City and Wanderers. Wow, that is just
Yes, sir.
yikes. I love it when we get to talk and we get to do the deeper things about the sports, and we get to remind folks about what's important when it comes to the sport that we talk about every single day and that we love every single day. I love you, my friend. And we will catch up with you next week, and we will have more stuff to talk about. And as always, we will tear it up and rip it, and folks will have to piece it together. Be safe, my friend. I love you very much.
Thank you, Johnny. See you next, guys.
Yeah, we'll see you next, guys.
time, guys.
We'll see you next. Yeah, go get a coffee or something. All right, we'll see you in a bit. There goes Nino Torres at GOLTV. He's see, you know, but like I said, and at the end of our conversations, it's an opportunity. Once again, it reminds us on a bunch of different fronts about what's important, and to be able to have these conversations from around the world all in one place, and to be able to touch base with folks so we know that they're okay and what else is going on in their lives, all that kind of stuff. That's part of what's important here, is that we're reminded about what's important, and it's not just what's on the field. Hot tag, time to go from Peru to Seattle, and he's not wearing the lid. He's not wearing the lid this morning. We got to figure out what's going on here with our buddy Niko Moreno. Where is the lid, sir?
What's going on, John? The lid is the lid is sitting, man. We gotta try to come on without a lid more often, man. You gotta get the hair a little bit of breathing room. Otherwise, I feel like I'm gonna lose it.
Well, dude, I mean, that's the thing with me, is it's like I now just kind of have them instead of having them to literally what I will do is, like, when I get a new lid, I'll like wear it once, and I don't do the flat bill. I actually do the baseball thing where I make sure that I curve it before I wear it, and so that way it's there like this. I don't do the flat bill because I don't think I'm hip and cool enough to wear the flat bill. So I do the old baseball thing. And I just sit there and curve it like a pitcher, you know, and just have this thing going. So that's how it is with me. I was stunned. It's like, you're not wearing your lids this morning. So you threw me for a sec. I do want to get into the weekend and all the matches that are there. I do want to get into what's going on, obviously, on the field in Seattle. And I want to get into what you and others were discussing to start, where apparently Obed Vargas, he's getting a lot of sets of eyes and binoculars and people looking at old huddle tapes and asking Brian Schmetzer, I imagine, for links to the all-22s and everything. So Obed Vargas is a desired commodity from a bunch of different folks outside the country, yeah?
Absolutely. Look, we had heard from Craig even, before this year, before this award that was given to Obed, that, there wasn't a club in the world that didn't know about Obed Vargas because of the metrics that he puts up, because of, the database that a lot of clubs in Europe choose to follow certain players. And even when they were in Marbella, right, we always knew that there was a lot of clubs that were following Obed Vargas, that were following guys like Pedro. You put up on, you send a scout to this game, and then you send a scout to another. And just the most recent, right? It was Bruges. They had a scout here following Obed Vargas over the last couple of games, and goes all the way back to the LA Galaxy game, the 2-2 equalizer here at Lumen, and that's because this is a prospect. This is a future player that right now is running this is part of this huge run for the Mexico U22 in the World Cup. They just beat host Chile. They'll be playing Argentina next. He is a winner. And that's what Obed Vargas does. He is willing to play for the team as he has right now in Mexico, because he's playing a little bit out of position. You haven't really been able to see him shine the way he shines in the Sounders system, right? But he's willing to do that, do the extra work, sacrifice himself a little bit. So guys like Mora, guys like Montiel, those guys get open and ultimately get wins, right? He's doing a lot of defensive work for Mexico, right? But the reality is that is everything else that makes him so interesting. Is his progressiveness on the ball, is his dribbling skills, is his work rate, it's his ability to close down space. Everything that he does consistently for the Sounders team is what makes him a commodity and a guy that, from PSV to Bruges to a lot of other European teams, they're just following him and waiting to see when it's a good time
so when
to
is
put
a
in
good
an
time
offer.
to put in an offer, sir? I'll go ahead and ask.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say right in the off season, right in look, I know that in the global scale, it doesn't quite happen like that, where a lot of the big moves happen in the summer window. But I do think that this winter, after he's been able to once again use this 2020 World Cup as yet another showcase, another platform where he can display, his abilities on the field. That's when I think a lot of the big important offers are gonna come through. Now, of course, there's still the matter of the extension with the Sounders. What does that look like? Because he could essentially decide to not renew with the Sounders and just wait it out and eventually go to Europe on a free, right? Which is something that the Sounders cannot allow to happen. And I would think that you use your max U22 salary to keep him on and essentially at one point move him on to Europe. So I would think that, January is when I feel like the big offers are going to come through.
Supplemental roster, and for Seattle specifically, there are questions that have to be asked. You've got Jacob Castro, who has an option year for 26. Osaze de Rosario has option years for 26 and 27. Kim Kihei, who is an injury issue right now, has an option for 26. Kalani Kosarienzi, options for 26 and 27. Then Travian Sosa, obviously he's on loan, unavailable, but there are option years in his deal, 26 and 27. You mentioned Obed Vargas as a homegrown. The option years only for 26. Cody Baker is through contract through 26 with option years to follow. Snyder Brunel has a contract through 28 with an option for 29. And we mentioned Castro and Stuart Hawkins through 26 with option years for 27 and 28. Paul Rothrock, to me, is one of the larger questions because the local kid's out of contract. What are you seeing with these 25s, whether we're talking supplementals or we can get into the rest of the roster if you want, with John Bell and Stephen Fry and JP, who's got an option year, New, who's got an option year, Masovsky's got an option year. You got a lot of questions coming up in the offseason.
I think a lot of those options are going to get picked up, including Nuhus, including Danny Masovsky. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to be hitting long term. I do think that the Sounders are going to make it a big part of their future plans to get something out of these players. They're going to want to pick up that option for New, and if there is a market for him and you can move him, whether it's in MLS or outside of MLS, and you can get something for him, that's what you want to do. You want to be able to build up your resources to essentially have some sort of generational change, right? I mean, you're gonna have some turnover, but per Craig Weibel's works himself, if it does happen, it's going to be through a lot of transfer. Danny Musovsky is a similar situation. But I think that the Paul Rothrock one is one that can get dicey, right? I mean, you look at this roster, you look at the amount of competition that there is at the winger position. You got Pedro, and now you got Jesus, you got Georgie. At one point, you're going to get Paul Arriola in there. There's going to be a lot of pieces, a lot of individuals that are going to be playing for those positions. And, Paul Rothrock, he was winning less than 150,000, I think, a year. And if he's trying to get, let's call it 7, let's call it 8, it'd be really difficult for the Sounders to say yes to that. Getting 8 times what you were winning it's difficult, right? There's ways to come up. There's ways to add to that salary. A lot like Jackson Reagan, right? He was another guy that kind of came in through the back door, became a sensation, a guy that's needed. Now, he's one of the best defenders in MLS, and rightfully so. So he got a big bump on his pay, but it wasn't 8-9 times what he was winning. So that's where I think negotiations are gonna get real hard, because as much as the Sounders would love to keep Paul Rothrock, and as much as I think that Paul Rothrock want to stay here, there is a number, and that number is gonna almost force you to make a tough decision. So I hope that does get worked out, and there is some sort of settlement between both parties. And Paul Rothrock is here next year, because I do think he's a guy that brings a lot to the table. I've been a Paul Rothrock defender. I've been a guy that has made sure that everyone who doesn't see what Paul Rothrock provides to this team understands that. But at the same time, I do get that it'd be very hard for the Sounders to pay a certain number, let's call it 800-900, for some of those intangibles and some of those things that he does do well. But you got to think about not handicapping the
right
team.
Now, you mentioned Jackson Reagan. His base got bumped up to 600, and he makes 610 in guaranteed comp, according to the MLSPA. Right now, Paul Rothrock's making 104. So that's supplemental, or young minimum, I guess, is probably the best way to phrase it. He's making only 104. And so you're looking at that. So if you take that 600 number that you are mentioning as, let's just say the Jackson Reagan baseline, if you match that, you can go from 104 to 600. Right now, you would be in line with, as I sit here and scramble through, Stephen Fry, who makes 600,000 a year. You've got JP, who makes 625 in guaranteed compensation a year. Danny Musovsky makes 585 in guaranteed compensation. We mentioned Jackson Reagan at 600. Alex Roldan makes 530. So you're in that ballpark. Nuhu 571, 875. So that's the ballpark that you're looking at there. If you set that as a marker for that kind of a salary increase for somebody like a Paul Rothrock, that's the neighborhood. Those are the houses. That's the neighborhood you're moving into at this point.
And I think that's where the Sounders can meet them halfway. And when you talk about, some of these numbers, these are guys with huge trajectories, like JP, right? He was brought in, obviously, as a guy that was going to be an important piece, which he was at one point, of course, and the salary stays up. But guys like Jackson Reagan and him that, again, kind of came in as walk-ons, let's call it that, right? Just kind of walk-ons, and they've been amazing. They've been successful, and they've been huge parts and contributing factors for the success of this team. And that is not to be dismissed in any sort of way. But I think that 600 mark is a good place to meet, because I do feel like, with everything that surrounded Paul Rothrock, with that huge game against Messi and him becoming this poster child, and a lot of the contributing factors that he has provided and the minutes that he's played and the importance to the system, an agent wouldn't be doing their job if they're not asking for the world, right? They're asking 8, asking 9, and I do think that that's a little too high, but I think that 600 range, using that parameter of Jackson Reagan, is where at some point there will be a settlement, hopefully, in between Paul Rothrock and the
All
team.
right,
I think that's a
so
good
this
number.
weekend we do have a handful of matches in hand, folks playing in multiple competitions. This is the catch-up round. LAFC had a match last night. Now they've got a match on the weekend, and then they get caught back up after Saturday. Seattle is one of those that has to get a match caught up, and you're going to have to do it without Reed Baker-Whiting with the U20s, Snyder Brunel with the U19s, Georgie Menungu's with Burkina Faso, Nuhu's with Cameroon, Christian Roldan is in the U.S. camp, Obed Vargas is with the Mexico U20s, and you're going up against RSL. You're favored at home at a minus 139. RSL on the flip side of this, they are missing Gozo, Kobe Henry, Diego Luna, Luca Moisa, Brian Ojeda, Gio Villa, and Marcus Zambrano. 2 with the U17s, 2 with the U20s, Diego Luna with the first team, Kobe Henry with TNT, Brian Ojeda with Paraguay. Yeah, I can kind of see why they're a plus 319 heading to your place.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting matchup to say the least. I'm kind of excited to see the way it plays out because additionally to what you just mentioned, no Albert Rusnak because he got a red card in that game. No Kim Ki-hee, per Brian Smetzer just yesterday. He has a calf injury. He called it a mass, which was weird. That was a weird term. Mass was odd, and they said they're doing some blood work and things to just figure out what it is that's going on in his calf. So he basically said that he does not expect him to play. So you're going to have to very likely bring up at least a couple of guys from Tacoma Defiance. My guess is that Leo Burney is a guy that you're likely going to bring up. Maybe Tino. One of those two is going to be one of the center backs that gets brought up. And then at midfield, you got Peter Kingston. You got a guy like Seba Gomez. But I think at the end of the day, it is going to be just either Leo or Tino. And you're going to just kind of go with what you got at midfield. Maybe you do figure out that Peter Kingston's a guy that he's 24. He has the frame. I wouldn't call him necessarily like a defensive sort of minded midfielder, but he could do a little bit of both in a lesser sense. So it'd be interesting how that plays out. Brian Smetzer said, we have a good system with the Tacoma guys being here and they understand how we play, but you got to step up a level. He said maybe 2, depending on who you're talking about, right? So there are guys that need to step up beyond their level to play and perform with the Sounders. But I think in this one, there's going to be a lot of moving pieces. My guess is that the Sounders are going to play with a 3-man back line because the biggest question mark is left back. No Nuhu, no Reed. Cody Baker is out on loan. So who do you play there? My guess is Paul Rothrock. You go with a 3-man back line, likely, I don't know, Alex, Bell, and Reagan. And then you play with Paul Rothrock on that left side, have him push out, Kalani on the right side. And then from then on, I think you got to play JP. Look, JP hasn't played minutes since May, I believe. That's a long time. I think that was the last time he started. But if you were going to keep JP and you've been working on getting him healthy, this is when you need him to play, right? I mean, you literally have nobody else. Because Snyder Brunel went out with the U19s. So what do you do now? It's got to be Leyva and JP. And try to squeeze every minute you can out of him, right? Maybe it's 45, maybe it's 56 minutes, but you're going to have to see what you get out of JP. And that's going to be interesting because you don't know where he is physically necessarily. You haven't been able to really give him a lot of competitive minutes. I've talked to JP. He's a very confident guy. He's been dying at an opportunity to get back on the field, show what he has. So I think he's gonna, play with a chip on his shoulder. But then moving on forward, it's gonna be interesting how everything else plays out if that's the way that the Sounders decide to play. And then RSL, I think that their absences, although big, maybe they don't seem as critical, just because to me the Sounders pivots are such a huge part of what they do that you do have a bit of a downgrade in that area to 2 guys that have been just so good, so consistent for this team in Obed and Christian. But look, it's going to be a game you don't want to miss, just because you are going to be able to see a lot of cool new aspects to the games and see who who are those Tacoma guys that end up getting called up and playing partial minutes? Stu Hawkins is another guy that I think will get some minutes in this one, right? Let's say if you start with a 3-man back line and you play JP,
Sure.
let's call it 45. And at halftime, you make a sub. Maybe you move Alex to midfield, and then you bring in Stu for 45 minutes. I think that's very possible, right? So there are things that Brian can do, but it's just not going to be as, I guess, call it effective and elite as it's looked in the past, because you're clearly missing basically eight guys of the first team.
A couple of other matchups involving teams out west on the weekend. Purple team is hosting Vancouver for their makeup match. Vancouver on the road is a plus 202, draws a plus 283. Purple team at home is a plus 110. So Vancouver is missing Ali Ahmed, Kenji Cabrera, Andres Kubas, Ryan Alumis with Tunisia's U23s, and Jaden Nelson. Orlando missing at the moment Brekalo, Carvalho, Alex Freeman, Colin Gusky, Javier Otero, Pasalic, and Tyrese Spicer. And Orlando is still massively favored, albeit on the plus side, going up in that matchup.
Yeah, that's a tough one, right? Because Vancouver is a creature of habit with some of these players, and you know, a guy like Kubas is an anchor in that midfield, right? And you might be able to just solidify with what you have, but when you have that sort of system and those guys aren't there, I mean, I think it's anybody's game. This is one that I would stay completely away from, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is a little bit of a chess match and you go and Vancouver just gets a result on the road and just kind of plays for that draw, right? And you hope that you can manage that game. But it'd be interesting. Orlando, look, they've been up and down a little bit, right? Again, I always fall for that Orlando, you know, Oscar Pereira thing where, you know, I think they're the best team in the East, and all of a sudden they start just stumbling and you know, that's right, going down. And right now I'm having a hard time deciding what Orlando's going to show up. Clearly with the absences, I mean, we'll see what Oscar Pereira puts together. But yeah, this is one that is probably going to be a bit of a chess match between Jasper Sorensen and Oscar Pereira. Wouldn't be surprised if this was a 0-0-1-1
All right, also
draw.
on the board, you are looking at LAG hosting Dallas, 10:30. LAG is a plus 119. Draws a plus 295. FCD is a plus 183. And the missing pieces here for LAG, it is only 3. Harbor Miller and Ruben Ramos Jr. for the U19s and Joseph Paintsel. So you're missing an offensive piece there. For Dallas, it is Deedson who is out. Murillo is with the U20s. Nolan Norris is with the U20s. Martin Paz is with Indonesia. So, you know, you're only missing a couple of pieces in this one, and LAG at home is the one that is favored.
I really like Dallas in this one. I don't think it's going to be an exciting game per se, but I do think that Dallas has been sneaky good as of late. They've really been able to get Petar Musa in really good positions. I think that Farrington's a guy that has a high floor. He's very dependable. You know what you're going to get out of him game in, game out. I think that defensively they've been able to seal up some holes, you know, kind of just clog certain gaps and issues that they've had in the past. It kind of seems like without Luciano Acosta, this is a better team, which sounds crazy, but you know, without him, the team has been winning. And I don't know. It's not exciting soccer, and is extremely simplified. But if you look at what Quill's been able to do, is just get the guys to do a certain duty. This is your job. This is what you're going to do in the midfield. You're not going to do much more than this. We're going to simplify it. We're going to get the ball to Musa up top, and we're going to get some wins, right? And that's kind of what it's been for this Dallas team, right? They like to bring in a guy like Anderson Julio off the bench. They, you know, he's kind of like their spark plug coming in and going off against tired legs. So no matter the way it's happened, I think that Quill has found a equation that gets him wins, and against a Galaxy team that's the complete opposite, where it doesn't matter which way you fit it. It feels like you're always waiting for when they're going to lose this game rather than are we going to win it. I think Dallas is going to
Okay,
take
and
that
then
one without a doubt.
LAFC with their final makeup match. They go to Austin for Sunday Night Soccer. Slight favorite on the road at Q2 at a plus 150. Austin is a plus 156. Draws a plus 258. And the missing pieces there, obviously, Denny Buanga, Matthew Chouanier, Yeonmin Son, Nathan Ordaz, Jude Terry is away for the U17s. Then you look at Austin and their absences, Micah Burton with the U20s, Cascante, Pereira, Svatok, and Mirto Uzuni. So one of your big guns offensively is gone for Austin. And I think proportionally that's more important for Austin than what LAFC has been piecing together without Buanga and Son because of the depth on that roster. I'm still looking at LAFC here.
Absolutely. You know, you got La Perla Martinez that despite missing a PK yesterday, I thought he had a pretty decent game. I think that Ibobosi is a guy that you can count on as well. Experienced striker that's going to come in and do his job, put the ball in the back of the net when necessary. Eddie Segura has been as reliable and versatile as it gets. I think Palencia is a guy that has been very good for him. Delgado. This is a team whose core group is still going to be there. And I think Steve, on his way out, and despite, you know, all of the controversy with him leaving, I really do think that has put together a team that is going to play against, is going to go and be successful against the run of play. They're going to be solid defensively. They're not going to give you a lot of room to run on, and they're going to be effective on the counter. So I think that those are all very good components to what LAFC can do against Austin. And yes, I do think that you're right. Those missing pieces for Austin seem a lot more significant because LAFC has
and
more
obviously
depth.
that means that there's a last one on the board. And it is Atlanta United traveling down to Fort Lauderdale to take on Messi and friends at the Erector set. Atlanta United has a tremendous amount of absences. It is Almiron, Luke Brennan with the U20s, Ronald Hernandez with Venezuela, Saba with Georgia, Mihai with Albania, Miranchuk with Russia, Cooper Sanchez should be back from the U17s, then Bart Sliech with Poland, Messi and friends, and we had Michelle Kaufman on in hour number 1 to break everything down. Noah Allen with the Greece U21s, Rodrigo De Paul with Argentina, Ian Frey, Messi, Santi Morales with the U19s, Talasco Segovia with Venezuela, and Matteo Silvetti, who scored for the Argentina U20s yesterday. The talk is now that perhaps, possibly, probably, maybe, that because of the importance of this match in the numbers game for Messi and friends, that Lionel Messi may just only dress out and wave. He may, it's, you know, because there are two matches now that are going to be in this window from Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and Chicago. It is now Fort Lauderdale and Fort Lauderdale. The one from Chicago is apparently going to be moved. So what you've got in this window is match number 1 with Argentina at the Erector set. Then magically, there's a matchup at the same stadium involving Atlanta United and Messi and friends in Major League Soccer, where they really do need 3 points. And then you end up with a matchup on Tuesday, I think, that's being moved from Chicago to that same stadium. So there is a train of thought that this Messi guy, who is pretty decent at soccer, might just dress out and wave at people for that first matchup. Then he would suit up for the matchup for Messi and friends in Major League Soccer, and then might just wave on Tuesday as well. The subplot continues with them as they chase after as many points as possible, and the idea that Messi may play on the weekend against Atlanta United.
there's going to be some management to do, right? So regardless of how you play it and which game you decide to just dress up and be a cheerleader or a vibes guy for the entire stadium, Messi's still a guy that does need to provide that, right? It's very different when your guy, your franchise player, the face of your team is there and available to do certain things. And looking at the schedule, yeah, I mean, it makes more sense that he would just wait for that second game, right? No disrespect to Atlanta, but they just have not been great. And even in their last game against LAFC, where he kind of said like they were holding for dear life, playing deep and trying to make it very uncomfortable for LAFC, the threat offensively is just never there. And when you can't attack Inter Miami, it tends to be an easier game, right? So if I had to choose, of course, I would just have Messi not play this one, and then I worry about that second game, because with what you have there at Inter Miami, you might be able to pull a good result against
That's
Atlanta
what we're
United.
staring at. So that's the rundown of the weekend. 5 matches, 2 days, 4 on Saturday and 1 on Sunday. What do folks need to know about what's going on at Pulso Sports, Sounder at Heart, and the Providence and Swedish Copy House and 5-minute oil change?
Yeah, go ahead and check out our interviews for the week there at Pulso Sports. We got to talk to Brian Smetzer a little bit about those absences, how things are going to work out in this game against RSL, what he expects out of RSL. We also talked to Alex Roldan about his versatility and kind of what he needs to do at times when there are that many missing players. We asked him about his brother, Christian Roldan, and what has made him a Pochettino favorite, and likely being a guy that has earned a spot for the World Cup in 2026. So that's an interesting one. Go ahead and check that out. And then, of course, we're going to get with Jeremiah Oshan tomorrow and obviously put together the podcast of what we learned this week. We're going to break down the entirety of it. We're going to see what we get. We might be able to tell you exactly which are the guys out of Tacoma that are coming up and what's the plan. So if you want to know whether it is for your purposes on the juice boxes, or you just want to know what's going on there with the Sounders, you'll be able to find that with Jeremiah and I on what we learned this week. And then, of course, on Monday, Ari Lillenwall's back because he was out on vacation. He's back this Monday. We're going to break down the week, talk about what it is that kind of comes about in this very interesting catch-up weekend of MLS action. And yeah, man, that's all I got going on there.
My friend. We will catch up with you again same time next week. We'll break it all down and get ready for decision day and find out what decisions have to be made for the last day of the regular season. As always, my friend, great to see you. And I got to get used to you not wearing the lid sometimes when you're there in the studio.
Oh, it'll be back next week. I typically get about 2 weeks, maybe 15 days out of a haircut. Right, so it'll be back.
Be safe, my friend. We'll see you soon. All right. There goes Niko Moreno from Pulso Sports and from Sounder at Heart, and he is out the door. Okay. So let's get you into your AFCON update, and let's say hi to everybody, as a matter of fact. Hatim, glad you were here this morning, and do not be a stranger. Good to see you. Morning, David. And Abby, yes. Abby was mentioning the fact that when you have your star that Michelle Kaufman brought up in hour number 1, where he does his introductory presser and as team captain, does not do any other pressers, and it's everybody else, Abby uses the word disappointing. And literally the question is, for everybody in Michelle Kaufman's footprint, how do you cover Lionel Messi without getting to talk to Lionel Messi? Basically, so what was it like with Lionel Messi? And you're asking everybody else. Javier Mascherano can give you the sound bites because he's the head coach. He can analyze things, and he can look at it through the prism of coach to player. But since you can't ask the player that you want to ask those questions, you have to figure out how to do things through the other side door and figure out all those elements. So that is the element to all of this that has been the challenge for folks who cover Messi and friends down in South Florida. Morning, Harry. And morning, Alex. Morning, Catalucci. It was good to see you a couple of Mondays ago at the brew house for soccer over there. And let's see. So morning, Dr. D. And I think that catches us up on the social medias. Okay, so here's what's going on when it comes to who's in, who's out, what do they need, what's going on, all the things. And so what we'll do is we'll break it all down here. So you got Egypt once again. They are now officially qualified. Egypt is in, and a lot of folks are looking at them as possibly someone that you cannot look past. Obviously, you're looking at Mo Salah, obviously, but there are others there that are a part of the Egyptian equation after their win with Djibouti, and they are now in with a match to spare. So you have Egypt, who is in, and now you have the other you have the scores and fixtures and standings. And so Kenya with the win today, Kenya over Burundi. Burundi was down to 10 at some point at early on. And so you now are looking at that as your marker for today's action. Let me see if let me grab the standings here. So, all right. So right now, Egypt is in with a match to spare in Group A. Burkina Faso would be the 2. They are at 18 points. Sierra Leone, Guinea-Bissau, after yesterday, they're just everybody down there. Ethiopia, Djibouti, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Group A, the last match day does not matter. And so now with what is going on today, it is at noon. Guinea at Mozambique, Algeria at Somalia, Equatorial Guinea at Malawi, Namibia, Liberia, Botswana, and Uganda. So that is Group G, and Group H that is next in line this afternoon. So the one matchup in Group F now lays it out to where, once again, Ivory Coast and Gabon, you're trying to figure out the 1 and the 2 with 2 matches left for them. Kenya with 9 matches played, they are at 12 points. And you have Gambia with 8 matches at 10, Burundi with 10, and the Seychelles have scored 2 goals in 8 matches. So that's Group F. Now, Group G going into today. Algeria is at 19 points, Uganda, Mozambique at 15, Guinea is at 11. Guinea needs to win out and get some help. Uganda, Mozambique, keep an eye on those 2 in Group G. Identical records, but a far superior goal difference for Uganda, +5 to -3. Algeria, once again, 4 points clear, 2 matches to go in Group G. Uganda, Mozambique, both at 15 points and chasing. Group H, Tunisia is far and away, they're done. Tunisia has won the group. Then it's Namibia at 15, Liberia at 11, Malawi and Equatorial Guinea at 10, Sao Tome and Principe do not have a point in the group. So Tunisia, far and away, they're the top spot in Group H. Namibia, 15 points. If they get, 6, 17. So if Namibia wins their next match, they would be the 2, and they are at Liberia. And so Liberia, they need a win. Liberia is currently the 3. Malawi and Equatorial Guinea, they need to win out and have Namibia basically crash out from here. Equatorial Guinea and Malawi has been canceled now. That is registered as canceled on the board, courtesy of our friends at the FIFA. So that noon match is canceled. Equatorial Guinea and Malawi is now no longer going to be played at noon today. Now, once again, FIFA has sanctioned, and that was back in 24. And so you've got to keep an eye out now on the other sanctions that are, available. So international window, our friends there, you're looking at Uganda looking to keep pressure on second place ahead of the visit to Algeria. The lineup against Botswana is out. Then you end up with, you also have AFCON, you have Asian qualifiers going on right now as well. So the other news this morning, let me see if I can find it quickly, is, okay, so Mansour Loom, the race for the best second place spot is likely to be shaken up in the interest of fairness following Eritrea's withdrawal. FIFA is considering not counting all results obtained in Eritrean matches in the group. And that came out this morning. So going into the match up, let's see, Eritrea was at the bottom of Group E. That is the Morocco, Niger, Tanzania, Zambia, Congo. So if Eritrea's matches, Eritrea basically said that we're not competing in the tournament. So they are out. They were out before a match even started in Group E. And so Group E has been trying to figure out how to orchestrate what's going on with all of this. And so you would then, if Eritrea's withdrawal, once again, nullifying the results, potential penalty threatens teams like Burkina Faso, Congo, and Madagascar, and boost others in the final stretch for qualification. And so initially included in Group E, Eritrea never made the qualifying rounds. Eritrean Federation threw in the towel before kickoff, quoting our friends at Sport News Africa, citing recurring fears of asylum requests by its athletes during international travel. Confirmed by CAF and FIFA, the withdrawal left the group short a team, 5 nations competing instead of 6. Immediate consequence, an uneven format, automatic match penalty for teams in the group. The other 8 groups play 10. Group E has to settle for 8. And so according to information, in order to restore fairness, authorities consider the idea of applying a tried and tested rule like they did during 2018, removing results against the teams ranked last in each group when ranking the best runners-up. FIFA has not fully validated the choice, but should make it official by October 14th, the last match day. If the choice is validated, then the hierarchy and the ranking of the best second-place teams would be upset. Burkina Faso would be down 6 points. Congo would be down 6 points. Gabon down 6 points. Madagascar down 6 points. Cameroon would be the big winner, as they are second behind Cape Verde. They only got 4 points against Eswatini with the rule. Therefore, they lost 4 and not 6. First effect, Nigeria fully revived in the race for best runner-up. So you would have, as of right now, the 4, you have provisional ranking of second place: Gabon, Madagascar, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, DRC, Namibia, Uganda, South Africa, and Niger. And South Africa, remember, is also under a debate when it comes to player eligibility, and they should really lose points across the board for their using an ineligible player. Top 4 advance to the continental playoffs. So going into this decision that should be made in the next 5 days, Gabon, Madagascar, Burkina Faso, Cameroon. Those are your top 4 right now, before the decision is to be made. First effect, Nigeria, once again, they hop back into the idea of being a top 4. Held to a draw by Lesotho, facing the same opponent Friday before finishing up against Rwanda. 2 wins gets them to 17 points. Minimal deduction, they could overtake their rivals. Namibia, Uganda, less dependent, also waiting for their chance. So AFCON has a lot of work to do. And we still have to figure out what the latest is involving points, deductions, who's in, who's out, and who is not going to be playing. So you've got all of that activity that you have to kind of keep an eye on going forward. Now remember, once again, the Equatorial Guinea match has been taken off the board. Equatorial Guinea, they're in that group at 3, 4, 5. If they were to get a win, they'd be at 13. But they're fighting Malawi right now, and the match has been canceled. So keep an eye on Group H today, and we'll figure out what's going on there as well. Okay, we've gone into added time. Thanks to Michelle Kaufman for dropping by, and it was great to get all of the intel from her about what's going on with Inter Miami and Messi and friends. Thanks to Nino and Niko. And remember, U20s, 3:30. Pick your favorite provider. Watch that matchup. Obviously, we'll have a discussion with that tomorrow. Hopefully catch up with our friends at Beyond Goals at 9:30. Steve Cangelosi joining us at 10 o'clock tomorrow, and then just bursting out through the weekend. And the Red Clay Soccer Report will be out this weekend. We're catching up with our friends at Albany State, and they will be the they will be the anchor leg this week for Red Clay, and we'll let you know what's going on there. And we'll take you through all the other storylines and all the other things that are going on the college scene here in our footprint. And that'll be out this weekend as we lay everything out for you across the planet. Once again, as always, thanks to all of you folks for being with us. And thanks for being here Monday through Friday at 9:05. We will be back in a little less than 22 hours. Since it is the that particular time of day where we sign off, couldn't do it without you. Thanks again, as always. Mucha platial, play it safe. And since it's the end of the show, that means I get to do this. We'll be back at it again tomorrow, 9:05 Eastern. See you then.